What's up, guys? Welcome to the Jamaica Funk Show. And tonight is Black History Wednesday. Normally, my co host Joe is here with me, but she had some things she had to do tonight, so she's unable to be on the show. So we're going to do it solo and we're going to keep this train moving. So tonight, the people we'll be honoring will be Madam C.J. Walker and Dr. Henry Louis Gates. So I'm looking forward to it, especially Madam C.J. Walker, because I'm going to play a little piece of history about Madam C.J. Walker, so you all can hear just how incredible this woman was. It's a little long, it's about 15 minutes. So I'm going to get the show started. I'm going to play our first piece, which will be the Madam C.J. Walker's piece. So I want you to sit back, relax, and get ready to check out Madam C.J. Walker.
One in a Million: The History of Madam C.J. Walker and Her Entrepreneurial Legacy. Not even her poor and difficult beginnings stymied Madam Walker's road to greatness. Born December 23, 1867, roughly 2 years after the alleged emancipation of her race, she was an orphan at 7, a wife at 14, a mother at 17, and a widow by 20. The woman who would become known as the first self-made female millionaire and the greatest benefactress of her race was born the daughter of Owen and Minerva Bri Love, poor ex-slaves living on a cotton farm in Louisiana. They named their special little girl Sara Bri Love. A washerwoman by trade, at the age of 33 in 1900, Sara began selling a product door to door which she had formulated to remedy her own hair loss. She pinpointed the root of her hair problems, which was the scalp, and created hair care products and a beauty regimen for hair growth and maintenance that focused on the need for a clean and healthy scalp, scalp protection, and scalp stimulation for maximum hair growth. Her first product would eventually be called Madam C.J. Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower, and she boldly and proudly used her own likeness on her jars and her own before and after pictures to demonstrate her product's effectiveness. Per Madam's own words, she abhorred the impression held by some that she claimed to straighten hair. She emphatically stated, "I grow hair, and that there would be no hair growing business today had I not started it." She described her concept and method of hair growth as beauty culture because she compared growing hair to growing and cultivating garden plants. She then broadened this concept of beauty culture by incorporating the value of cleanliness and professionalism, which emphasized the overall appearance, moral conduct, and character of the Black woman. Black women from all over the country began writing letters to Madam Walker attesting to the benefits of her products. By setting up a special correspondence course of beauty culture in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, then a manufacturing facility in Indiana, and later a beauty college in New York City, Madam was able to further establish and promulgate her program of beauty culture, which trained the Black female in 3 areas. First, the Black woman was taught the proper presentation of herself. She was to be clean, neat, properly attired, and well-mannered. Second, she was taught how to use Madam's hair care system on customers. And third, she was taught how to sell Madam's hair care products to customers. In so doing, Madam C.J. Walker provided a solution to the root of the Black woman's demise. She raised the Black woman's self-esteem and confidence about her own beauty and intelligence, and she empowered the Black woman economically, thus freeing her from white servitude and male dependency. This accomplishment is even more amazing when put in the context of the time in which these things were done and in the context of Madam's own background. The time one historian called the nadir, or lowest point in the history of the black race, outside of slavery itself. The blessings of freedom was now marred by the blatant terrorist acts of the Ku Klux Klan and those like-minded individuals working in collusion with them. The harsh reality faced by the vast majority of blacks living in this era was that the number of lynchings peaked during the early 1900s, as did other backlashes sparked by Reconstruction, such as the burning of black churches and schools and the establishment of Jim Crow laws. During this dark period, most black women were either sharecroppers or washerwomen and house servants for whites. Madam Walker was no exception, but she was, however, exceptional. Madam Walker moved her ever-expanding special correspondence course business, founded on her system of beauty culture, to Indianapolis, Indiana, on February 19, 1910. She then purchased and paid for her home, adjoining which was a factory and laboratory located at 640 North West Street. She endeared herself to the citizens of Indianapolis when she contributed $1,000 to the establishment of the Senate Avenue YMCA. It is reported that she was the only woman to make such a donation. Madam herself, when referring to the YMCA donation, had this to say, quote, "In referring to that $1,000 gift, I don't want you to lay so much stress on it, and do not say that I am the only one. You might say that I was the first and caused others to awaken to the sense of their duty in helping deserving causes for the benefit of the race." End quote. Not long after her move to Indianapolis, Madam Walker also became a member of Bethel AME Church, one of the oldest and most influential churches in the black community, to which Madam Walker contributed generously. In less than 2 years after moving to Indianapolis, on September 2nd, 1911, Madam C.J. Walker petitioned the Indiana Secretary of State to become incorporated, and on September 19, 1911, exactly 1 year and 7 months since her arrival in Indianapolis, the Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company of Indiana Incorporated was established, Madam Walker naming herself president and owner of all 1,000 shares of stock. A relentless worker, an ingenious marketer and saleswoman, Madam Walker had thought to place her system of hair care products in black colleges all across the United States. She also regularly advertised in black newspapers, and she eventually placed her products in drugstores. As she traveled throughout the country, she wrote letters to her general manager in order to instruct him on how best to run her factory in her absence and how to implement all of her new ideas. However, the Madam Walker agents, Madam's recruited sales force, were her biggest asset. Madam held public meetings in churches, rented lodge halls and other such facilities, and put on demonstrations, including a slide presentation, in order to recruit black women to become Walker agents. Madam Walker taught and trained them in the methods of application and proper use of her hair oils and vegetable shampoo. Eventually, Madam organized a national convention for her Walker agents, giving away prizes and other incentives to motivate and energize her ever-growing troops of Walker agents. Sales generated from Madam Walker's manufacturing company and the hair care products it produced enabled Madam to give birth to yet another legacy, as Madam became known as the greatest benefactress of her race. Through monies earned and derived from Madam's work in the hair-growing business, Madam Walker regularly donated large sums of money to charity and to individuals of her race who were in need. In fact, Madam was so self-sacrificing and freely giving that those closest to her were worried that she would become financially ruined. Desiring all blacks to have decent homes, at times, Madam would assume mortgages of blacks who were financially strapped, allowing them to repay when and how they could. Various schools for blacks and certain social and civic organizations dedicated to the betterment of the black race were also beneficiaries of Madam's philanthropy. Though many have called Madam extravagant, her generosity and passion for her people were Madam's only extravagances. She gave not for self-aggrandizement, but rather to inspire other wealthy blacks to give likewise. Moreover, Madam's giving went well beyond monetary donations. She lent her name and time to worthy causes. She traversed the country, speaking against lynchings, and fought vehemently for the fair treatment of black soldiers who had served in America's military during World War I. Madam C.J. Walker was an ambassador of sorts, a spokesperson for all black-skinned people, a revolutionary, visionary, missionary force. It should therefore be quite obvious that Madam Walker's passing on May 25, 1919, was a tremendous loss to the black race. At that time, Madam had recruited over 25,000 black women from the United States, Central America, and the Caribbean as door-to-door beauty culturists, and was well on her way to Africa. Her net worth was over $1 million, making her the first female, regardless of color, to become a self-made millionaire. She is one of the most successful black entrepreneurs of all time, and one of the first to utilize the method known today as direct sales marketing to distribute her products. She had also managed to build a 32-room mansion in Irvington, New York called Villa Luaro, which she had desired to be left as a monument to her name and as an example to her race of what hard work and black support of black enterprises could achieve. After Madam's 1919 passing, her hair care manufacturing corporation was used as collateral to secure the finances needed to build what is today known as the Madam Walker Theater Building. Completed in late 1927, the Walker Building Beauty Salon continues to operate there and continues to sell Madam C.J. Walker's original hair care products. Years later, in 1982, the trustees of Madam Walker's Trust would deposit a large portion of Madam C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company's business records, historical documents, pictures, and memorabilia with the Indiana Historical Society, who took on the task of painstakingly organizing and preserving the Madam Walker legacy. 74 years after the incorporation of the Madam Walker Company, in 1985, the 1,000 shares of capital stock of Madam's Corporation were sold to a man named Raymond L. Randolph, making him the first person since Madam Walker herself to own all 1,000 shares of stock in the original Madam Walker Company. A graduate of Attucks High School, Mr. Randolph had never dreamed that he would become the owner and caretaker of this phenomenal legacy. In honor of Madam C.J. Walker, Mr. Randolph placed Madam Walker's image back on the jars of her original hair care products with the words, "Since 1911," placed underneath it. Doing the
Wow, that was Madam C.J. Walker. And listen, guys, I'm going to give us a little bit of reggae music. And then next up, we'll be talking about Dr. Louis L. Gates. Well, I remember.
So take info. Me like me a tricks in a 3D. Fini CD, DVD, TV. Pay me back for all of those kiki. Give me 3 free. With you, me free. If your man big like Baby G, mine sing and DJ like Lady G. I will pay your visa fee. Grab me, y'all sing on it like a Lisa D. Take in. You think it easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? Take me things and you take my money too. So take into, take into, take in. You think it easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? You take me things and take my money too. So take into, take into, take in. You think it easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? Take me things and you take my money too. So take into, take into, take in. You think it easy? Who you ramp with? You want it easy? You take me things and take my money too. So take into, take into. I saw fake people stay. Rome I saw fake people turn. Nikita know it. Crash road, easy. You help them do everything, and now you them done run and shame. Same friend when me grow it, a bad mind me through the fame. Me swear you was a real friend, can't believe us so easy or tame. Prove you wicked them jealous and that them same man why you a rubbish at out in a dream. Enough sell out for nothing at all, bad mind them corrupt them we kill you just in nothing at all. Big up the real youth them, where you bullet with we brother from we never got nothing at all. Tell them we in it to win it, get a youth sky is the limit. So me a push forward stand tall, all when them woman fall. Rum, as a fake people see it, as a fake people turn. Watch them all, you will understand why me no put trust in a man. As a fake people see it, as a fake people turn. Enough of them beats that you body done, and behind your back watch them a make plan. You help them do everything, and now you them done run and shame. Same friend when me grow it, a bad mind me through the fame. Me swear you was a real friend, can't believe us so easy or tame. Prove you wicked them jealous and that them same man why you a rubbish at out in a dream. Enough sell out for nothing at all, bad mind them corrupt them we kill you just in nothing at all. Big up the real youth them, where you bullet with we brother from we never got nothing at all. Tell them we in it to win it, get a youth sky is the limit. So me a push forward stand tall, all when them woman fall. Rum, as a fake people see it, as a fake people turn. Watch them all, you will understand why me no put trust in a man. As a fake people see it, as a fake people turn. Enough of them beats that you body done, and behind your back watch them a make plan. As a fake people see it.
Okay, guys, we're back. And I'm going to give you some poetry. I'm Katie, and you're listening to the Jamaica Funk Show on Spreaker.com, www.spreaker, and search Jamaica Funk Show. Now, also, you can upload or download the Spreaker app. Just go to your App Store, Google Play, and look up Spreaker, Spreaker. Download the app, and you'll have access to internet radio anywhere you go, any country, anywhere in the world you go. You'll have access to the Jamaica Funk Show with KT and the rest of the crew. So, without any further ado, we're going to play a piece of poetry done by Miss Johanna Bright. The name of the poetry is called Anger Issues. Well,
Anger issues. I have them. Yes, I do. I can't remember when I didn't. Sometimes when you least expect it, an infinitesimal thought from a time you haven't given thought to in a long time takes advantage of a quiet time. Slips in under the radar in a moment of introspection, blasting through like a tidal wave during a day at the park near the shore, while you're enjoying a glass of Chardonnay with your significant other who just happens to be apologizing again. And it's there. And you really don't have a full memory of why anger is an issue. It just is. But anger is in the details. The first time I rolled my eyes in righteous indignation, my youth clouded my ability to see anything except what I wanted. My eyes rolled clean through my teens, and as time passed, as the years do, my hands made gestures clearly not measured in the least explainable. But whenever the feeling of anger arose, it became clear when the fuse started and ended. With me, externally. Hands raised in the air, fists balled into knots, my fingers splayed, pointing accusations at the offending party. But just when you think that you're going to have a time to cool down, doesn't happen. But your head, it can't stop throbbing because you really didn't realize that your eyes became shot with blood, your face contorted to a point that you can see harsh lines along your cheekbones. But the worst part was feeling your heart race like a herd of stampeding rhino or elephants, and your jaw aching because before you even said a word, you were grinding and gritting your molars so hard it was what caused the headache in the first place. and you're gripping something balled in your hands and find it's just tissue. Time is not your friend in times like these. And you know it's best to keep your mouth shut, stay out of it. Sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you just can't.
You don't know, Martin.
I am affected by your smile, witty and thoughtful, deceiving and beguiling, amorous and suspicious, your impressive giving nature that is you. I am affected by your posture, sitting up straight, back pressed firmly against the cushion, eyes forward, listening intently, hanging on my every word, poised for the confrontation destined to come. I am affected by your thoughts, summations and suppositions wound tightly together by a single strand of perception, by your tomes on your shelves, stacked neatly, read thoroughly. I am affected by your perceptions, the way you process information and extricate simplistic meaning from an enigma that is merely life. I am deeply affected by you, what you are, what you will be, what you have become. Just before I was born,
From the very first time I laid my eyes on you, my heart says follow through. But I know now that I'm way down on your line. But the wait and feel is fine. So don't treat me like a puppet on a string, 'cause I know how to do my thing. Don't talk to me as if you think I'm done. I wanna know when you're gonna come. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. If summer is here and I'm still waiting here, if winter is here, you know I'm still waiting there. Ooh, yeah. It's been 3 years since I've knocked on your door, and I still can knock some more. Ooh, boy, is it feasible? I wanna know now, for I to knock some more. You see, in life I know there's lots of grief, but your love is my relief. Tears in my eyes burn, tears in my eyes burn, while I'm waiting for your return. I don't wanna wait in vain.
just love that song. That's a Bob Marley song done by Carly Simon, and I Don't Want to Wait in Vain. And she does such a phenomenal job with that song. I mean, like you can really get I don't want to wait in vain, for your love. Beautiful song. So next up on our Black History Wednesday is Dr. Henry Louis Skip Gates. Now, Skip is his nickname. That's what he's called by his beloved friends. Dr. Henry Louis Skip Gates was born September 16, 1950, in a place called Keiser, West Virginia. He is an American literary critic, a teacher, a historian, a filmmaker, and a public intellectual who is currently serving as the Alphonse Fletcher University professor and director of Hutchins Center for African and African American Research at Harvard University. He has discovered what is considered the first books by African American writers, both of them were women, and has published extensively on appreciating African American literature as a part of his repertoire. Now, Dr. Gates, this man is phenomenal. Let me just tell you a little bit about his career. So, well, first of all, I'll tell you about a little bit about his personal life. He was married to a lady by the name of Sharon Lynn Adams in 1979, and they were divorced in 1999. He also has two daughters from that marriage. His career, he was at Yale Law School for a month, and then he withdrew from that program. In October of 1975, he was hired by Charles T. Davis as the secretary in African American Studies Department at Yale. In July 1976, Gates was promoted to the post of lecturer in African American Studies, with the understanding that he would be promoted, to assistant professor upon his completion of his doctoral dissertation. Guys, forgive me; these words are having a hard way of getting out of my mouth. So, jointly, he appointed and assisted professorship in the English and African American Studies in 1979. Gates was promoted to associate professor in 1984. And then in 1984, Cornell University came knocking on his door. They offered him tenure. And he went back to his officials at Yale, and he, asked them could they match it. They said no. So, hey, in 1985, Dr. Gates moved to Cornell University and taught there until 1989. The following 2 years, he stayed at Duke and was recruited by Harvard University in 1991. At Harvard University, Gates teaches undergraduates and graduate courses as the Alphonse Fletcher University professor and endowed chair. He was appointed to in 2006. And as a professor of English, additionally, he is the director of Hutchins Center for African and African American Research. As a literary theorist and a critic, Gates has combined his literary techniques of deconstruction with Native African literary traditions. He draws on structuralism, post-structuralism, and semantics to analyze the texts that assess the matters of identity and politics. As a Black intellectual and public figure, Gates has been an outspoken critic of the Eurocentric literary. He has insisted that Black literature must be evaluated by the um, aesthetic critics of the culture of origin, not the criteria imported from Western European cultural traditions that express a tone of deafness to Black cultural voices and result in intellectual racism. In his major scholarly work, The Signifying Monkey, I know y'all heard about the Signifying Monkey. As a matter of fact, Rudy Ray Moore, which is an earlier comedian before Red Fox, used to talk about the Signifying Monkey. And in 1989, the American Book Award, he was an American Book Award winner. Gates expressed what might constitute a Black cultural aestheticism. So wait a minute. Henry Louis Gates is like the first to do the genealogy of African American history for a lot of prominent celebrities. You know, he showed a lot of celebrities where they actually came from, what were their origins. And for us being Black here in America, that is huge because think about it. We were brought over here in slave ships, okay, in the bottom of a slave ship chain. And our ancestors are so many generations back, and a lot of us didn't get, those stories didn't make it to us today about, our families and what our language was and all those different things that mean so much to a culture and to your spirit, because that's what you connect to. And if you can't connect to nothing, you're lost. And so what Dr. Gates did was started doing this roots thing. He started going back and finding the roots and connecting several Black notable celebrities to their roots, where they came from. And he's done it for white folks too, as well. But I was really, really astounded by that. Really, really astounded by that. Whoopi Goldberg, she was one of them who he did a gene analysis on, DNA analysis, and let her know, where her family's from, what is her makeup, So I really love him. Let's see if they're tell me. Let's see, New York Times. Let's see. I'm just looking over these facts here about Henry Louis Gates because it's so much that they talk about Dr. Henry Louis Gates, and I will post it on the website, on the Jamaica Funk Show website, because I really, really, really want you guys to read about Dr. Henry Louis Gates. He is a Black historian who is still alive. He's still alive. He's still on the planet. Ain't gone nowhere. He's a writer. I mean, it says, as a result of the research at the MacArthur Fellow, Gates discovers Our Nig by Harriet E. Wilson, written in 1850 now, and now considered the first novel in the United States written by a Black person. He acquired the authenticated the manuscript of the Bondwoman's Narrative by Hannah Craft, a novel from the same period that scholars believe may have been written early as 1853. It would have precedence as the first known written novel by a Black person in the United States. It is recognized as the first novel published by an African American, but William Wells Brown wrote and published it in London. The Bondwoman's Narrative was first published in 2002 and became a bestseller. As a prominent Black intellectual, Gates has concentrated on building academic institutes to study Black culture. Additionally, he has worked to bring about social education and intellectual equality for Black Americans. His writings include pieces in the New York Times that defend rap music and an article in Sports Illustrated that criticizes Black youth cultures for glorifying baseball over education. And in 1992, he received a George Pope Award for his social commentary in the New York Times. Gates' prominence has led to his being called a witness on behalf of the controversial Florida rap group 2 Live Crew in an obscenity case. He argues that the material which the government charges was profane had important roots in African American vernacular English, games, and literary traditions, and should be protected. Asked by the National Endowment of Humanities Chairman Bruce Cole to describe his work, Gates responded, "I would say I am a literary critic. That's the first description that comes to mind. And after that, I would say I was a teacher. Both would be just as important." After his 2003 NEH lecture, Gates published a book, The Trials of Phyllis Wheatley. So that's what I have about Henry Louis Gates. So let's give it up for both our Black historians, Madam C.J. Walker and Dr. Henry Louis Skip Gates. And guys, I'm going to give us back some music. I so appreciate you guys for being here with me. It has been a blast. You know, I miss Joe, but Joe will be back next week. And she'll also be here tomorrow, her and Christos both. So you'll get to hear them then. If you want to hear this podcast and other of our many podcasts, you can go to www.jamaicafunkshow.com and listen to all of our stuff. One-stop shop. You'll get Joe's poetry, Christos Furs, and all of our videos and radio shows. So with that, I have to say, without you out there, there is no me, or there is no Jamaica Funk Show. So we just want to say thank you so much for showing up for the party, liking and subscribe. Please like and subscribe and let us know that you're out there. And if you have any comments, please leave those too. And having said all of that, may God bless you, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Well, I remind.
Rifle shot fly through chest. Go inside them counters. Everybody know, I am the greatest. From me small and I grow me a done. We know we're second hand. Cassava, peace and circle, come on. Grand spend on the big yard gang. White all know me think them long. Push her down where you stand. You see, I'm Brooklyn, a graveyard them belong. The thing them land and the thing them plan. Start jungle, we not drop out, we drop bomb. Yardless, we not drop out, we drop bomb. Southside, we not drop out, we drop bomb. Marvel, we not drop out, we drop bomb. Joseph, we not drop out, we drop bomb. Waterhouse, we not drop out, we drop bomb. Spanish Town, we not drop out, we drop bomb. But if you rock Fort, bury up on the sun. Second city, me they tell you I'm a beer. Rough, tougher than clear. Look a pussy stop, puff up and pray. Cause Superman can't save your day. Then the van rifle use clear the way. A smoke a crave in here. Gunny man walk out with the key. Start spring we no play. CLM we no linger. No take suck mother and middle finger. The killers from flanker. 50 caliber we fire pan tanker. Canterbury drop anchor. Rock down any town like cancer. Rose heights we a gangster. When we talk no about cancer. We no drop out, we drop bomb. Yardless, we no drop out, we drop bomb. Southside, we no drop out, we drop bomb. Marvel, we no drop out, we drop bomb. Joseph, we no drop out, we drop bomb. Waterhouse, we no drop out, we drop bomb. Spanish Town, we no drop out, we drop bomb. But if you rock Fort, bury up on the sun. Everybody know, everybody know, everybody know. Rifle shot fly through chest. Gully side them can't test. Everybody know, I am the greatest.
Up to the time, timeless. Baby, up to the time. Hey, we are baby. Don't play around, no. Seriously, you can't take me for clown. Never. I'm gonna rock. Yo. Hey. Take me, you think it easy? We are ramping. You want it easy? Take me things on. You take my money too. So take into. Take in. You think it easy? Who you ramping? You want it easy? You take me things on. Take my money too. So take into. Ford, that I feel you what not. 3, that I feel the door and the grill and the padlock. Give me 5. For the fridge and the blender on the fridge. Hey, go on bad. For the Louis Vuitton bag. Take for the goods from Separate. Plus the ceramic tile and the gold plate doorknob. That I got cost you up. Take in. You think it easy? Who you ramping? You want it easy? Take me things on. You take my money too. So take into. Take in. You think it easy? Who you ramping? You want it easy? You take me things on. Take my money too. So take into. Me like me a tricks in a 3D. Fini CD, DVD, TV. Pay me back for all of those.